Yeah, I think I'm kind of ready to start on the front end. Oh, thank you, Iris. I probably will need help. We'll see how the front end goes. One screen is perfect positioning chat, but the other one isn't. Can you resize the chat window for the second one, please? Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Let's do this. And I don't need you up anymore. All right, that looks just about the same height. Let me know if that looks good. All right, can you make a small recap of what you've done? Sure. Let's go ahead and make a tweet. Press and hold the green button at the top. Oh, this guy? Bam. All right, so what have we done so far? We set up monorepo. We have done a login / register mutation. I guess we could say we set up the, let's order it like this. We set up a GraphQL server with Apollo server 2. All right, so we have a monorepo. I guess this is the order we did it in. So we first set up GraphQL server with Apollo server 2. Set up typeorm. I guess we kind of did typeorm first, but that's okay. We set up a monorepo to share code between front-end / backend. And then we created a login and register mutation. And so I guess what's next? Next up, set up Next.js. All right, so let's get started with that. All right, so I'm in the packages folder, and I'm gonna say create, I think it's next app. npx create next app example. I want to use the TypeScript version, and here we're going to say web. If I don't do the project within 24 hours, we continue to work on it. So I will be completing the project in 24 hours. The question is, how much will be done in 24 hours? And I don't know yet. It's going to be something where like I see how the end of the project goes, and if I feel like it's something that I want to continue working on, I will. And well, yeah, I guess I'll have a better idea of that at the end. I could see myself continuing it, but also I could see myself just working on different projects instead. All right, so we have this web, and did I push up my code to GitHub already? Web. Am I going to be using something like styled components? So there is a special one. All right, we already pushed up. There's a special one for Next called styled JSX, I believe it's called. And so I'm going to be using that. And then I'm also going to be using semantic UI, I think. And let me just see if there's any problem with semantic UI in Next.js. I don't think so. Yep, that's kind of what I expected I needed to do. All right, let's see what we have over here. Will you be leveraging GitHub's APIs? Possibly at a later state, not today. I'll keep the default tsconfig they give me. I'm going to have to set composite to true, and we're going to say references. And I forgot the syntax already. I'll just copy what we did from over here. Let's see if all this code is up to date. Turns out it's not. So let's install the latest of these three. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and just start the server and see if it looks good. I mean, everything looks like it's fine. Server's up and running still. All right, could not find valid build. I think I just need to start it with dev. There we go. And I think I need to add dot next to my git ignore. I feel like that's the built code. And all right, so let's go to localhost 3000. All right, so that's our website. Excellent. Add Next.js. Let's push it up. So I guess the first thing that I want to do is I want to create a /register and a /login. And I've actually never even done what's it called? Authentication with Next, so this is going to be interesting. Why are you using server-side rendering, by the way? Because so the alternative, so right now I want to use it because this project is going to have things that need to get indexed that I think will be good for SEO, and I think it moves too fast to go for Gatsby. And so I think we're not static enough to do Gatsby for this one, I think, because we're going to have lots of updates and we're going to have a lot of real-time subscription stuff, I think. So then my choices are server-side rendering or just using Create React App or something else, and I'm going to be trying Next.js for a couple reasons. One, I think it's going to be better for SEO. Two, I want to try it out and I want to use it for some other projects. And three, I think it's less restrictive than Create React App, but still doesn't make me need to create my own web pack. I don't mind setting up my own web pack, but I prefer if someone sets it up for me. That way I don't have to maintain it. I'd rather maintain less things. I don't know, it's kind of loose reasoning. Let's go ahead and do the register page. Awesome. All right, so first things first is I want to add Apollo to this. That way we can make the mutations. And I luckily just made a project, my own website with this. And I added Apollo to that, so we're going to follow that format. So I create a folder called lib. I mean, the one thing I dislike about server-side rendering is just more annoying to deploy. All right, so let's go ahead and install Apollo Boost. Also, I was using unfetch, and yeah, let's continue using unfetch. And this should be a regular dependency. Pretty sure you can do server-side rendering with create React app. Yes, I think so as well. Next.js is just basically instant setup. I mean, you guys saw how fast we set up Next.js. I literally just said add to the project, and then bam, we're good. All right, can't find it. I think it's gonna take a second. And we'll come back and add that later when we're in production. For now, we're gonna say localhost 4000. So now that I have those two things, there's something I need to set up in the pages. Yep, don't think there's anything else I need to do about that. I think that's it. I think I can call the register mutation from here now. So you're going to need a form. And yeah, React is pretty amazing. I'm going to go with Formic for it. And we're going to go ahead and install this. I'm just going to add the CSS directly instead of using the CDN. And I'm adding that to app.js. All right, and yeah, I think we're good to use the form now. I don't know if we need TypeScript types for this or if it comes with. I'm sure we'll find out immediately. Oh, the other thing I noticed is we don't have to have React at the top. Okay, interesting. Guess it does that for us. All right, let's see what that looks like. I feel like something's got to break, right? There we go. It's like, this is too good to be true. Let's restart this and see if it's just that. So if it's looking ugly like that, that means Semantic UI is not picking up the styles. So that means it's not importing the CSS for some reason. I'm so used to saying yarn start. Interesting. Yeah, Semantic UIs is pretty nice. And it's kind of one of the ones where, like, I was thinking I could use Material UI, but you kind of know it's Material UI as soon as you see it. So it kind of just has that Material UI feel. I guess Semantic UI, Next.js. Yeah, this guy's having the exact same problem we are. Need to add a loader for fonts. I feel like there might be an easier way than just manually changing the Webpack config. So are these guys having problems with images or with CSS? So what is my next? So we have with TypeScript right here. Have you ever tried installing Mern CLI? No, I haven't. What is that? Okay, is that what I need to add? So what about for Next.js? Do I just do what this guy's doing? Let's give this a try. And then you just spread it, okay. Yeah, I'm more of a Postgres guy than I am Mongo. Okay, why is this not formatting to the next line? This is kind of, oh, because it doesn't like this for some reason. All right, let's see, I think, so we're saying Webpack, let's just turn this into a regular function. I remember trying Semantic 1 2 years ago, it was great, but pretty heavy. It seems lighter now. I'm curious, I wonder if they're doing, if they're splitting stuff now into, and do like tree shaking on it or something. All right, there we go. All right, let's see what happens with this. So what is this doing? Just a URL loader. Seems fine. Oh, I just need to import it. this guy have how you use it? Okay, let's see. Yeah. Do I have it running somewhere else? I'm just gonna start it up one more time and see. I can kill all stuff on that port if it's still having a problem. Cannot resolve URL loader. Okay. I think I just need to add URL loader then. Do you use any external libraries for state management? A lot of times I don't. If I do need it, I'll usually use like, a lot of times I'll use like a combination of just local state and the React components, and then I might use context. If I'm working, sometimes maybe I'll consider Redux if the project has a ton of client state, but React, I'm able to just use the Apollo package for most things. And let's kill whatever's on that port as well. Do I need specifically that version? I use CSS on Next via the inject that CSS on the header. Okay. So are you talking about instead of importing it, you actually just add it in your header and you add a script tag to that? Is there any reason why you go for that instead of importing it at the top? I guess you avoid this problem. Cannot find file loader. All right, let's add file loader. You'll notice my Yarn installs have become longer. That's one side effect of Yarn workspaces. Oh, I see. Okay, looks like it built. Sweet. I see the CSS, it's styled. So let's go ahead and save this to Git real quick. So thanks for the help, guys. All right, step one, let's make this not ginormous. I think they have something for it. And I don't think I need to go there. Container is what I'm looking for. And now I feel like I'm going to add container to like every single one. Yeah. I wonder if it's better to just add the container to... Where did I have that one project? I wonder if it's better to just wrap my entire project in it. Oh, it's going to conflict. We'll call this semantic container. So where do you implement GraphQL? Well, basically you implement GraphQL on the server, or at least you create a GraphQL server, and then you can make GraphQL requests from the client. If you're new to GraphQL, I always recommend just like reading through the GraphQL, I think it's .org/learn. Yeah. About the idea, how do you verify that someone actually did a code review? So that's a good question. What I'm thinking is after the person is done reviewing the code, they send it to the person that requested it, and then that person verifies, hey, I am satisfied with the job, basically. So it's going to be the person who requests the code review's job to verify whether they got what they wanted or not. All right, this looks slightly better. I think I want the container even smaller though. Maybe I want to put this in like a card. Nah, I don't think I want this type of card. Yeah, we'll come back to it, I suppose. I guess this is fine enough for now. All right, so for us, we're going to need so I was about to start filling out these fields, but I think what I want to do is, since we're going to be using Formic, let's go ahead and import Formic. Yeah, exactly. So someone could do that. I reviewed your code, it looks great, and they didn't actually do that. So the person is going to be like, so let's assume they did nothing. Like they didn't even make a comment or anything. The person who requested the code review would say, I am not satisfied with my reviewer, and to like let us know that that happened. So we have 3 form values. We're going to have a username, email, password. Initial values. Everything's going to be blank at first. And then on submit, this is going to be an empty object at first. And then we're going to implement our, this is actually where we're going to call the mutation later on. So now we can create Formic, I guess they're called fields, custom fields. And then that'll allow us to reuse our code. hey, I think this is using the same documentation as that other library. Let's just go to their GitHub. Actually, they don't have it on. I know exactly where it is on their GitHub. Let's see if I can find it here. We want a custom field. Yep, this is exactly what we want. So I'm going to create a new component here. In the components, I'm going to create a folder and I'm going to call it Formic Fields. And here I'm going to create input field. I guess I could just do it like that. And so the idea here is it's going to look like that. So now we are going to handle all the logic for the field right here. So our input is going to be the same thing here. So we're going to pass in all the props. And then we're going to have a label, which we're going to take as a prop. How's it going? Pretty well so far. Working on the front end some now. I know I had to go away for a few hours. Yeah, so far on the back end we have the login and register working, and now I'm currently setting up. Let's see if I crashed it or not. Here we're working on a register page for the user. Here's an idea. After reviewer marks a job done, they have 20 minutes to answer a few questions left by the submitter. Questions like, what does this code do? What is the role of some file.js? Okay, and then what happened? What would you like? How is that any different from, or how does that help us, I suppose? So you have the person that wants a code review. They can just see whether the reviewer reviewed it or not, right? And whether they're satisfied with it. Do we really need to have a survey from the reviewer's point of view? All right, we also want to grab handle errors. So let's see. Form input. So this is where you have to use the input field from semantic. I want to pass like error text. This just turns it red. Some legit profile, maybe like LinkedIn. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking would be a good idea, is to like have them either pull the data from that or just have them directly link to that. Maybe linking at first is the easiest. Usage. I'm looking for like error text. Can I not have error text? Maybe I need to add like a little label underneath it, is what they call it. I feel like I've done this at some point. I guess I can use a message like this. I kind of want to attach to the field though. Do you think you'll continue to work on this after the challenge? I'm not sure yet. I'll see by the end of the day. I'll have a good idea. Interesting how you're going to create the overall reviewer ratings from the typeworm. need to sum up the total value of all the reviews and then divide that by the total number of reviews receives, and then put a star rating. Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to set up. Okay, form validation. They are going to need to show some errors there. Where are they showing errors? I guess they don't have errors showing on the individual fields. Yeah, I guess I should try doing that. For this project, I'm using Typeworm. Yeah, it looks like they just put all the messages down there. I'm actually not a huge fan of that style, but we're going to run with it. Have them both review each other at the end of the process, then release the funds to the reviewer. If the person who doesn't give a review within 7 days, release the... Yes, I was planning on doing something like that. I think that's a good way to do it, because then you get an idea from both sides what they're thinking. And then some people will just never review, and then in that case, you know, there's no sense in just holding the person's money. All right, let's go ahead and do messages then. Let's close some of this junk again. Message. There we go, negative error. So what this means for us is we actually don't even use the error message here, which is interesting. But we do need to know whether there's an error or not to make the field red. So in that case, we're going to say const has error. And we know if there's an error if we have touched the field. If we've touched the field and we have it in the errors object. And so we're just going to pass that in. So error is equal to has error. Save this. Input we get from semantic UI. And that's our input field. So what that means is our register over here, we're now going to, instead of these form fields, we're going to say field from formic. And I'm going to say name is going to be username. Component is going to be, and we're going to use that custom component we just made. And now I can still say a label, username, and I guess we can set a placeholder as well. So the button down here, we're going to say submit, I guess, create account. It's going to be email. And then password. And I'm putting type password so it doesn't show the password when the user types it. Excellent. So now I want to show errors that happen and validate as the user is typing. So that's going to be the formic validation schema And what did I call it? Register schema. Sounds like someone's cooking in the background. Hope they're putting saffron to good use. Probably. Register schema. And that's coming from our controller. Not controller, common. So code ponder / common. And I don't think we've actually added this to our package yet. All right, so 1.0. We're going to say yarn there to install it. We don't need checkbox. So now the fields should turn red when things are incorrect, I think, if we have this set up correctly. But what we won't see is an actual error message. And let's see. So it kind of turned red. I think I also need to pass it in input field to this as well, maybe. There you go. That's red now. All right. And I think I'm going to just validate when the person submits. So I'm going to turn both of those off. In this errors object, we're going to create a custom component over here that's going to show the error message. And we're going to use just our message from over here. So this message is going to be negative. And I think we're just going to map through. So we're going to get an error object as a prop. So errors, the type of it, it's going to have a key as a string. And it's going to have a path, which is a string, and a message, which is a string. What do you mean a dynamic form? I think you can probably get Formic to work with a dynamic form. I guess maybe if the... Yeah, I feel like you could. So it's this format. I was getting it confused with what the format that I'm getting it from the back end. It's just going to be a key, which is a string that maps to a string. So I want to get the entries, and we're going to map over them. And we're going to get the key, the value. You could also say this is the path, and this is the message. So for each one, we're going to create a fragment. And the key, and we're gonna have to use react.fragment because we have to set a key. What do I want to say for the key for this? I don't think we're gonna have duplicate path and messages, so let's do that. Values only gives you the values of the object. Entries gives you both the key and the value. So what this allows us to do, so like the object that we're gonna get here is gonna look like this. Okay. It's gonna be like email wrong. So when we map over this, this is gonna be our path. This is gonna be our message. So here I'm gonna say path, and here I'm gonna say message. We'll get rid of that. And then what we can do is in our form over there, we can just show our error message. And we pass in our errors. And we don't want to show this if we don't have any errors. So let's say, and maybe we'll do this check inside of our error message. So we're going to say const entries so if we don't have any entries, we're just going to return null, because there's no point in showing an error message that doesn't exist. Yeah, it's pretty handy. Alright, so get rid of that. Get rid of that. I don't know why I just typed all of that. I could just hit create account and it should show up. Invalid prop error of type string supplied to input. So we just need to cast this to a boolean, and we can cast it to a boolean like that. Notice how it actually just reloaded the page. That means our form over here, we need to pass it handle submit from this. Alright, stuff did not show how I wanted. Extra attributes from the server style. I have no idea what that's about. We're fetching form fields from the server. Form needs initial state, but we don't have any form name and initial render. Can you not just have like an empty object for all the initial values? Like just keep this as an empty object? Or does it need to know all the fields ahead of time? I can't remember. What was wrong again? Oh yeah, nothing showed. That's going to be something with our error message. So here we're going to say, I wasn't returning anything from the map. Alright, so username is a required field. And I don't think we actually even need a header. So I'm just going to show the message here. I'm going to leave it like this because we may come back and change it. As far as entries, yeah, we'll just not show the header. Username is required field, email is required field, password is required field. Cool. And then let's put a $sign in there. That's a problem. Say username can only contain letters and numbers. That's better. Okay, I think this is pretty good. So the next step is we have our form set up. I think what we want to do next is implement our mutation. But I'm getting kind of hungry, so I think what I'm going to do is take a break for lunch and then come back and implement the form and actually call a mutation from the server. So let me push my code.